my name is Mars, and for the past 12 months I've been buying, building and selling computers. So in this video, I want to share my experience, some things I learned, mistakes I made, what I wish I did differently, what I'm planning for the future, and at the end I'll show you my current inventory. Over the past year, I built and sold around 12 computers, mostly low budget, mid-range systems. And one thing I learned pretty quickly is that cheap PCs sell. A lot of people would rather buy a good budget PC for a good price than spend a lot of money on something more powerful. I'm talking about PCs in the $100 to $200 range. Sometimes I build one, list it, and it's sold in literally 1 or 2 days. Mid-range PCs are a little more difficult. Once you get into the $300 plus range, people start having much higher expectations. They compare more builds, they want better looking cases, better parts, more storage, better GPUs. Basically, they become a lot more picky. I also had a custom PC request for around $1,500. That build used mostly new components, but I also used some second-hand parts like the RAM, GPU, and CPU. And for a build like that, I wasn't really trying to make money by marking up every component. Most of my profit came from the service itself, finding the parts, building the PC, testing everything, and making sure it worked properly. Now, here are some things I learned. First, learn how to say no. Not every deal is a good deal. Sometimes you'll find hardware that looks cheap, but once you actually think about it, there's barely any profit to make. And customers will lowball you too. Sometimes you just have to say no and move on. Second, don't stack too much random inventory. You need some balance. For example, having 5 GPUs sounds great, until you realize you have no motherboards or CPUs to actually build PCs with. Then your money is just sitting there. It becomes harder to complete the full system and you end up wasting both time and money looking for the missing parts. Another thing, don't be greedy. I see a lot of people trying to flip PCs and then they list them for 2 or 3 times what they actually spend, and then the PC just sits there for weeks, sometimes months, until they finally lower the price or they manage to sell it to someone who doesn't really know what they're buying. Personally, I'd rather build a PC, make something like $50 to $100 profit and sell it within a week. Then I can take the money and build another one. I would rather make profits consistently than have all my money stuck in one overpriced PC for 3 months. Now, what do I wish I did differently? Honestly, I wish I stocked up on more SSDs and RAM. Prices keeps going higher, and if I had bought more of them earlier while they were cheaper, my profit margins today would be better. Another problem for me is transportation. I don't have a car yet, so when I have to pick a PC, a case, a monitor or a bunch of components, I usually have to use public transport. And trust me, carrying PC parts around on public transport is not fun. So if you want to get into buying and selling computers seriously, having some kind of personal transportation makes everything much easier. And yes, I also got scammed a couple of times. Unfortunately, it happens. You learn from it, you become more careful, and you move on. Now let me show you what I currently have in my inventory. For motherboards, I have an M4 ASRock A520M HVS, and I also have an LGA 2011-3 motherboard, but unfortunately that one is broken. For CPUs, I currently have a Ryzen 3 Xe1X3540 and an Intel Core i7-3820. Yeah, I know, some of these are ancient, but that's another thing I've learned doing this. Old doesn't automatically mean worthless. If you buy older hardware for the right price, there's still a market for it. For GPUs, I have an Asus RX 580 2048SP. I also have another RX 580 2048SP with VRAM problems. That GPU is broken, and I will not put it inside a customer PC or sell it as a working card. For storage, I currently have a 128GB NVMe SSD and 2 1TB hard drives. For power supplies, I have this 750W 80 plus gold fully modular PCU. And for RAM, I have a couple of DDR6 lying around. So, what's next? I'm going to continue doing what I like, but I also want to turn it into a challenge. From now on, I want to see if I can keep buying, building and selling computers until I make enough money to buy myself a car. My goal is 3,000 euros, roughly $3,500, and I want to document the whole thing. Every PC I buy, every build, how much I spend, how much I sell it for, my profits, my losses, and probably probably a few more bad decisions along the way. So if you want to see if I can actually turn a bunch of old computer parts into a car, stay tuned. And with a little bit of support from you guys, maybe I can actually pull this off. Thanks for watching.